Welcome to Headphone News, International Edition for Wednesday, December 4, 2024.
Russia and Belarus sign security pact. On December 3, 2024, in Minsk, the capital of Belarus, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko will sign an important security pact. This agreement marks 25 years of the Union State, a partnership between Russia and Belarus. The pact aims to improve state, public, and economic security in response to ongoing global conflicts. The relationship between Russia and Belarus has grown stronger, especially after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, which has led to more joint military efforts. Lukashenko, who has led Belarus for nearly 30 years, has maintained a close alliance with Putin, often referred to as the last dictator in Europe. This new pact may further isolate Belarus from Western countries and could increase tensions in Eastern Europe, particularly with NATO. The effects of this agreement might lead to a larger military presence in Belarus and could influence the ongoing situation in Ukraine, impacting regional security.
Trump's opposition to Japanese steel acquisition. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his plan to block a $15 billion bid from Nippon Steel, Japan's largest steelmaker, to buy U.S. Steel, a major American steel company based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Concerns about national security and the potential impact on jobs in America have fueled this opposition. Trump emphasized that U.S. Steel should remain American-owned, a view shared by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris during the recent presidential campaign. The deal is currently under review by the United Steelworkers Union and other political figures. Nippon Steel hopes to finalize the agreement before Trump takes office in January 2025. This situation highlights the ongoing debate over foreign investments in critical industries and their effects on U.S. economic security. The outcome could influence U.S.-Japan relations and the broader steel industry, raising important questions about job security and the future of American manufacturing.
U.S. trade restrictions on China's chip industry. The United States has announced new trade restrictions on China's chip industry, starting December 3, 2024. This marks the third major crackdown in 3 years, impacting 140 Chinese companies, including Nora Technology Group, Piotech, ACM Research, and Sea Carrier Technology. The goal is to limit China's access to advanced chip technology, which is essential for military use and artificial intelligence. These restrictions come just weeks before Donald Trump's inauguration, and he is expected to maintain a tough stance against China. The chip industry is crucial for global technology, and these measures could disrupt supply chains, increase costs, and lead to countermeasures from China. The effects of these trade restrictions may influence consumers, businesses, and international relations, highlighting the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and China in the tech sector.
Indian rupee hits record low amid economic worries. The Indian rupee has fallen to a record low of 84.7425 against the US dollar, raising concerns about India's slowing economic growth and the strength of the dollar. This drop follows disappointing GDP numbers and represents the largest decrease in 6 months, at 0.25%. The previous low for the rupee was 84.7050, indicating a rapid decline without major action from the Reserve Bank of India. Additionally, India's reserves of foreign currencies have decreased for 8 consecutive weeks, heightening worries about the currency's future stability. A weak rupee can lead to higher import costs, which affects consumer prices and may deter foreign investment. Understanding these economic changes is essential for individuals and businesses as they navigate the effects of currency fluctuations.
Euro volatility rises amid political uncertainty in France. Demand for protection against euro fluctuations has hit its highest level since March 2023. This surge is fueled by political instability in France, where Prime Minister Michel Barnier faces a potential no-confidence motion from opposition parties. The euro's expected price changes have increased to 8.172%, showing heightened market worries. Recently, the euro was valued at about $1 US$5, reflecting a slight decline of 0.1%. The uncertainty surrounding Barnier's government raises questions about what the European Central Bank might do next, including possible changes to interest rates. Currently, the euro is valued at around 95 United States cents, which is about 10,600 United States dollars for 10,000 euros. Understanding these developments is essential for traders and investors, as currency fluctuations can significantly impact international trade and economic stability in the Eurozone.
ECB's proposal for EU productivity growth. Fabio Panetta, a policymaker at the European Central Bank, has put forward a bold plan to enhance productivity in the European Union. He suggests that the EU issue €800 billion, or about $841 billion in common debt each year for 6 years. This initiative aims to close the productivity gap with the United States. This proposal follows insights from former ECB President Mario Draghi, who highlighted the need for significant investments in the EU. If adopted, this program would represent roughly 6% of the EU's gross domestic product and could help reduce public debt for member states. Current forecasts show that the EU's GDP growth is expected to be just 0.9%, while the US is projected to grow by 2.7%. This plan emphasizes the importance of strategic investments in innovation and technology to improve economic performance across the EU.
Proposed regulations on data brokers. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, has introduced new rules to limit how data brokers can sell personal information. This initiative aims to enhance national security and protect public safety. Under these rules, data brokers will need to follow credit reporting laws and take measures to prevent data misuse. CFPB Director Rohit Chopra highlighted the serious scale of the issue, citing cases where personal information was sold to harmful individuals. This proposal comes after a Federal Trade Commission lawsuit against a company for selling location data linked to sensitive areas. The public can share their feedback on this proposal until March 2025. These new regulations could help build consumer trust and improve the protection of personal information, impacting various industries. This reflects a growing concern about data privacy in our digital world.
Saudi Arabia's solar energy expansion. Saudi Arabia is boosting its solar energy projects through partnerships with two major French companies, Total Energies and EDF Renewables. During a visit from French President Emmanuel Macron, these companies secured contracts to build solar parks in the kingdom. Total Energies will create a solar park with a capacity of 0.3 gigawatts, while EDF Renewables will develop two parks with a combined capacity of 1.4 gigawatts. These initiatives are part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, a plan aimed at increasing renewable energy capacity to 130 gigawatts by 2030. A significant jump from less than 5 gigawatts today. The agreements include 25-year power purchase contracts with the Saudi Power Procurement Company, and the total value of these renewable energy projects is over 8 billion Saudi riyals, which is about $2.13 billion. This effort shows Saudi Arabia's commitment to diversifying its economy and reducing its reliance on oil, while also contributing to global climate goals. The involvement of foreign companies is expected to enhance technology transfer and expertise in the renewable sector, positioning Saudi Arabia as a key player in the Middle East's energy transition.
Nvidia's M&A strategy at the technology conference. Nvidia's chief financial officer, Colette Kress, talked about the company's plan for mergers and acquisitions at the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference in Arizona, United States. She mentioned that Nvidia has significant cash reserves, estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars, which could be used to strengthen the company's position in the competitive AI chip market. This strategy aims to boost Nvidia's market share and encourage innovation in the AI sector. Investors and market analysts are closely watching for potential acquisition targets, including smaller tech firms. The impact of this strategy could significantly affect stock prices and competition in the technology industry.
Senator Cruz calls for investigation into European AI regulations. Republican Senator Ted Cruz from Texas has called on U.S. officials to look into the potential influence of European regulations on American artificial intelligence policies. In a letter to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, dated November 21, 2023, Cruz expressed concerns that European governments are enforcing strict rules on U.S. AI companies and trying to shape domestic regulations. He criticized these actions as excessive and politically motivated. The European Union is setting regulations for AI, having passed the AI Act in 2023, which is the first comprehensive set of laws governing AI technology. This situation could have significant impacts on U.S. tech companies, as foreign rules might affect innovation and competitiveness. Understanding the differences between U.S. and European regulations is crucial for everyone involved in the technology sector.
NATO's consideration of Ukraine's membership. NATO members are currently holding off on a decision about Ukraine's request to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization until the new U.S. administration takes office. Latvia's Foreign Minister, Beba Braze, mentioned that leaders generally support Ukraine's future membership, but the timing and specific terms are still uncertain. Ukraine's military is viewed as an important asset for NATO, yet some member countries are hesitant to invite a nation that is actively involved in conflict with Russia. This situation highlights ongoing tensions in Eastern Europe, especially following Russia's takeover of Crimea in 2014. The new U.S. President, Donald Trump, has plans to address the conflict, which could significantly impact NATO's decisions. Understanding the potential consequences of Ukraine's membership is crucial, as it may escalate tensions with Russia and alter international relations in the region.
India and China strengthen business ties. India and China are showing a willingness to strengthen their business ties after resolving a military standoff along their Himalayan border. Indian Foreign Minister Subramanyam Jaishankar announced that both countries will look into various aspects of their relationship after completing troop withdrawals from the border. This development follows an agreement reached 6 weeks ago to end a 4-year military conflict that resulted in the deaths of 20 Indian soldiers and 4 Chinese soldiers. The border, which is about 4,000 kilometers long, has been a source of tension for decades. Diplomatic relations, which had improved since 1991, faced strain due to clashes in 2020. The recent discussions indicate a careful approach to rebuilding economic ties, with hopes for resuming direct flights and speeding up visa approvals. Improved relations could lead to increased trade and investment opportunities, benefiting both economies. However, risks remain, including possible backlash from nationalists and ongoing security issues. This situation highlights the importance of stability in the region for both countries and their people.
Concerns rise after Intel CEO removal. Pat Gelsinger's departure as Chief Executive Officer of Intel Corporation has sparked worries about the company's future. After the announcement, Intel shares jumped by 6% but ended the day down by 0.5%. Over the past year, Intel's stock has dropped more than 50%, and for the first time in 30 years, the company's market value has fallen below $100 billion. In 2023, Intel reported an income of $54 billion, which is nearly one-third less than when Gelsinger took over. His focus on artificial intelligence and manufacturing didn't strengthen Intel's position against competitors like Nvidia and Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, known as TSMC. Nvidia has become a leader in AI technology, while TSMC continues to play a vital role in semiconductor manufacturing. This leadership change at Intel may lead to a reassessment of strategies aimed at regaining market share and rebuilding investor confidence. Investors should keep a close eye on Intel's next moves as the company faces a tough landscape in the tech industry.
Allegations of child deportation in Ukraine conflict. A report from Yale's School of Public Health claims that Russian presidential aircraft and funds were used to deport Ukrainian children from occupied territories to Russia. It identifies over 300 children taken as part of an organized program aimed at removing their Ukrainian identity and placing them with Russian families. In March 2023, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Russian President Vladimir Putin and Maria Lvova-Belova, the Commissioner for Children's Rights, for war crimes related to these actions. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, which escalated significantly in 2022, has led to severe humanitarian emergencies. The deportation of children raises serious concerns about their welfare and the impact on families. The global community continues to monitor the situation, with potential legal consequences for those involved. Understanding these events highlights the broader implications for human rights and international law in the context of the Ukraine conflict.
Congress faces funding deadline amid political tensions. Congress in Washington, D.C. is nearing a crucial deadline on December 20, 2024, to avoid a government shutdown. Both Democrats and Republicans are considering a continuing resolution to fund the government into early 2025, likely until March. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer highlights the need for a straightforward funding bill without divisive issues. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise points out that this situation complicates the early days of President-elect Donald Trump's second term. Senator John Kennedy expects the resolution to include between $30 and $40 billion in disaster relief for states hit by recent hurricanes. If they fail to pass the resolution, it could lead to a government shutdown, affecting federal services and employees. These ongoing budget negotiations underscore the challenges of bipartisan cooperation in Congress and the potential impact on citizens and local economies.
Iraq's role in the Syrian conflict. Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has stated that Iraq will not simply watch as the Syrian conflict continues. His comments come after recent gains by Sunni Muslim rebels in Aleppo, Syria. Al-Sudani highlighted the need to protect both Iraq and Syria from what he called ethnic cleansing. He discussed the situation with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, reinforcing Iraq's commitment to regional security. Reports suggest that hundreds of Iraqi Shiite militia fighters have crossed into Syria to support President Bashar al-Assad's forces against the advancing rebels. Iraq's Shiite-led government has strong ties with Iran, which supports Assad. The involvement of Iraqi forces could raise tensions in the region and impact relations with Sunni groups and neighboring countries. Understanding this complex situation is essential, as it may lead to greater instability and affect the humanitarian crisis in both Iraq and Syria.
Hedge funds thrive amid U.S. election volatility. In November 2024, several multi-billion-dollar hedge funds reported impressive profits, driven by the fluctuations surrounding the U.S. presidential election. After Donald Trump was elected on November 5, U.S. stocks, the U.S. dollar, and Bitcoin all saw significant increases, while the euro and Mexico's peso faced challenges. Overall, global hedge funds gained about 1.5% for the month and 10.6% year-to-date. Soma Equity Partners, a hedge fund focused on technology, posted a remarkable profit of 9.5% in November. Discovery Capital, known for its macro investing strategies, jumped by 14.5%. Synctive Capital, which manages around $3 billion in assets, rose by 5.1%. Individual stocks also played a role in these gains, with Wix increasing by 32%, Datadog by 22%, and Shopify by 44.5%. These results highlight how political events can impact market fluctuations, suggesting that investors might need to adjust their plans based on election outcomes. The performance of these hedge funds reflects broader market trends and investor feelings in response to the election results.
Central banks easing policies amid economic uncertainty. Central banks around the world are continuing to ease monetary policies as economic uncertainty persists. In November 2024, New Zealand and Sweden cut interest rates by 50 basis points, while the U.S. Federal Reserve and the Bank of England reduced rates by 25 basis points. Overall, central banks have cut rates by a total of 650 basis points this year, almost matching the cuts from 2020. The global economy remains unpredictable, especially with the upcoming U.S. election likely to affect trade tensions and inflation. The article highlights that 12 out of 18 central banks in emerging markets also held meetings in November, with countries like South Korea and Mexico implementing rate cuts. In total, emerging markets have seen 1,810 basis points cut in 2024, exceeding previous years. This ongoing easing aims to boost economic growth, but it raises concerns about inflation. The potential return of Donald Trump to the U.S. presidency could complicate economic policies and market stability. Understanding these developments is crucial, as they can significantly influence consumer spending, corporate investments, and government strategies worldwide.
Turkey's wage talks amid high inflation. Turkey is currently in urgent wage discussions as workers demand higher minimum wages to address a serious cost of living crisis. With inflation soaring at nearly 47%, these talks are critical. The minimum wage is set at 17,000 Turkish lira, which is about $489 US. Union leaders are pushing for a wage increase of around 25%, impacting roughly 9 million workers. Experts warn that this rise could further fuel inflation, possibly increasing it by 1.5 to 5 percentage points. The government, led by President Tayyip Erdogan, is working to balance these wage demands with efforts to control inflation. Recent forecasts indicate that inflation may fall to 26.5% by the end of 2025. The outcome of these wage negotiations will have a significant impact on workers, businesses, and the overall economy in Turkey.
Corruption investigation targets Austrian tycoon Rene Benko. A corruption investigation has resulted in the arrest of Austrian property tycoon Rene Benko and 8 others, following an order from an Italian judge. This inquiry involves local politicians in the Trentino Alto Adige region of Italy and comes after a series of insolvencies linked to Benko's property empire, Signa Holding, which declared insolvency in November 2023. Benko himself filed for insolvency in March 2024. The allegations include fraud and illegal financing of political campaigns, with reports suggesting that local politicians were influenced by business interests to support construction projects. Currently, 77 individuals are under investigation. This case raises serious concerns about political integrity and its impact on local governance in Trentino Alto Adige, a region known for its beautiful mountainous terrain and tourism. The unfolding events could have significant implications for trust in political processes and economic stability in the area.
Political crisis in Georgia. In Tbilisi, Georgia, President Salome Zourabichvili is facing a major political crisis as protests break out against the government's decision to pause plans to join the European Union, or EU. Each night, thousands of citizens confront police, voicing their unhappiness with the ruling Georgian Dream Party's actions. Elected in 2018, Zourabichvili presents herself as a voice for the people, calling for new elections and refusing to step down before her term ends on December 29, 2024. These protests are driven by a belief that the government is betraying Georgia's European ambitions and moving closer to Russian influence. Georgia, located at the crossroads of Eastern Europe and Western Asia, has a population of about 3.7 million. The situation is tense, as it could affect Georgia's chances of EU membership and foreign investments. The government's decisions might also lead to financial uncertainty, impacting both citizens and businesses. As tensions rise, the outcome of these protests remains uncertain, with possible effects on government and public confidence.
Political turmoil in South Korea affects markets. Political chaos in South Korea has led to significant market fluctuations. On December 2, 2024, President Yoon Suk-yeol announced martial law to address opposition forces. This move caused the South Korean won to fall to its lowest value in 2 years against the US dollar, with losses reaching 10% this year. At one point, the won dropped by 2%, marking its largest single-day loss since November 2016. Lawmakers quickly rejected the martial law, and people took to the streets in protest outside parliament. By December 3, the president lifted the martial law, bringing some calm back to the markets. The Kospi index, which tracks the stock market, also saw a decline of nearly 6% this year. The performance of the yuan significantly affects international investors and trade relations, especially with the United States and China. Currently, the exchange rate shows that 10,000 won is about $7.43. Political stability is essential for economic growth and investor confidence in South Korea.
Trump transition team's agreement with Justice Department. On December 3, 2024, in Washington, D.C., President-elect Donald Trump and his transition team announced a deal with the United States Department of Justice. They will start background checks and security clearances, which are essential for accessing sensitive information needed to prepare the new government. This arrangement follows a previous deal that allowed direct coordination with federal agencies and access to important documents. Concerns had been raised about possible delays in the transition process after the November 5 election, which could impact government operations. The aim of this agreement is to ensure that Trump and his team can carry out their agenda from day one in office, scheduled for January 20, 2025. Smooth transitions are vital for maintaining public confidence and effective governance.
Federal Reserve update on inflation and interest rates. Federal Reserve officials are optimistic that inflation is heading toward the target of 2%. On December 3, 2024, key leaders, including Mary Daly from the San Francisco Fed and Austin Goolsbee from the Chicago Fed, gathered to discuss this matter. The next Federal Reserve meeting is scheduled for December 17 and 18, 2024, where they will decide on borrowing costs based on the latest financial data. Experts believe there's a 70% chance of a small cut in interest rates, which would lower the rate to between 4.25% and 4.50%. While reduced borrowing costs can make loans more affordable and boost consumer spending, there are risks of rising inflation if the economy becomes too active. It's important for both consumers and businesses to understand these factors as they make financial decisions.
U.S. official highlights encryption amid Chinese cybersecurity threats. A senior official from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, emphasized the vital importance of encryption in defending against alleged Chinese hacking attempts on U.S. telecommunications companies. During a press call on December 3, 2024, Jeff Green urged Americans to steer clear of plaintext communications. This represents a significant change from earlier government positions on encryption, particularly following FBI Director Chris Wray's warnings that strong encryption might pose risks to public safety. The U.S. government has raised alarms about Chinese hackers breaching telecom companies like T-Mobile, with reports of information theft involving call records and audio intercepts. Chinese officials have denied these claims, labeling them as false information. The ongoing tensions between the U.S. and China in technology and cybersecurity have serious implications for national security and data privacy. As the reliance on encryption grows, companies may need to rethink their approaches to data security and compliance, impacting their operating costs and regulatory practices.
Scotiabank's fourth quarter earnings report. Scotiabank announced a profit of $1.69 billion for the fourth quarter, which is an increase from $1.35 billion last year. The bank set aside $1.03 billion for non-performing loans, down from $1.26 billion a year ago. Revenue for the quarter reached $8.53 billion, up from $8.27 billion last year. A reduction in value of $343 million related to its investment in Bank of Xi'an in China impacted profits. Chief Executive Scott Thompson highlighted ongoing loan pressures and political instability in the United States and Mexico. The bank anticipates that interest rates will continue to influence consumer sentiment. Scotiabank's Canadian banking operations generated $1.06 billion, while international operations earned $628 million. Overall, the results reflect mixed performance amid financial difficulties, with analysts closely monitoring potential impacts from political changes and interest rate adjustments. The $343 million in Chinese yuan converts to about $49 million in US dollars.
China's climate change arguments at the ICJ. China argued at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands, about the legal duties of countries to fight climate change. This comes after Vanuatu, a small island nation in the South Pacific, requested recognition of the harm caused by climate change and is seeking compensation. China highlighted that existing United Nations treaties should guide how countries' obligations are defined. The ICJ's guidance, expected in 2025, could significantly shape international climate policy and hold major polluters accountable. Vanuatu's vulnerability to climate change underscores the urgent need for global action. The outcome of this case could influence how countries tackle climate issues in the future.
FTC settles with data brokers over privacy violations. On December 3, 2024, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, announced settlements with two data brokers, MobileWallah and Gravy Analytics. These companies were found to be selling private data about individuals' political and pregnancy statuses without proper consent. The FTC accused them of unethical behavior by collecting location data. This is a significant move by the Biden administration to improve consumer privacy protections. The settlements include measures to stop using sensitive location data and to give consumers the option to opt out. As a result, the targeted advertising industry, worth billions of dollars, may face stricter regulations. These settlements highlight ongoing concerns about data privacy and the potential misuse of personal information, which can lead to illegal monitoring and stalking. Enhanced privacy protections could help build greater consumer trust in digital services, while companies may need to change their practices to comply with new regulations.
Bank of Korea's upcoming special meeting. The Bank of Korea, based in Seoul, South Korea, is set to hold a special meeting on December 4, 2024, at 9 a.m. Korea Standard Time. This meeting comes after President Yoon Suk-yeol lifted martial law, a measure that places military control over civilian functions. The goal of this meeting is to discuss financial policy in response to the political changes in the country. Lifting martial law is expected to boost investor trust, which is vital for economic balance. Currently, the currency in South Korea is the won, and 10,000 South Korean won is about $7.44 US. This situation underscores the importance of the Bank of Korea's decisions for both citizens and investors, as political stability is key to fostering economic growth and attracting overseas investment.
Marvell Technology's revenue growth fueled by AI demand. Marvell Technology, a semiconductor company located in Santa Clara, California, expects to generate $1.80 billion in revenue for the last 3 months of the year, which is higher than analysts' predictions of $1.65 billion. This positive outlook is driven by strong interest in custom artificial intelligence chips as more businesses adopt generative AI technology. Following this news, Marvell's shares increased by over 8%. In the third quarter, the company reported total revenue of $1.52 billion, surpassing expectations of $1.46 billion. Revenue from the data storage and management segment grew by an impressive 98% compared to the same time last year, reaching $1.10 billion. Marvell anticipates that its AI revenue will triple to over $1.5 billion this year and could hit $2.5 billion in the next fiscal year. Additionally, a partnership with Amazon.com is expected to strengthen Marvell's position in the AI market. The growing investment in AI technologies by major companies indicates a significant shift in the tech landscape, affecting job markets and corporate strategies. This rise in AI demand presents both opportunities and challenges for businesses and governments. That is all the news for today. Thank you for listening to today's Headphone News. News summary brought to you by AI.